Welcome back to Preparing for Dementia and Dawn Dementia Care. I'm Judy Cornish, dementia care specialist, author, and creator of the Dawn Method. With Dawn tools and techniques, families can provide truly strength-based dementia care for their loved ones at home. When we understand the skills kept, not just what's lost to dementia, we can preserve companionship and decrease stress and postpone costly moves into dementia care for as long as possible. In our previous video, we talked about how to better care for ourselves when we're caring for someone who's experiencing the progressive loss of cognitive skills that dementia causes. We know that in order to be able to provide good care over time, we must guard our own emotional and physical health. Now let's talk about 3 things that will help you get started off well with your loved one's changing skill set and how you can get things back on track if you're already having difficulties. First, it's important to understand that a condition called anosognosia often occurs concurrently with dementia. Your doctor or neurologist may not have mentioned to you that your loved one's dementia could be affecting the part of the brain that gives them self-knowledge. When someone is experiencing anosognosia, they are unable to comprehend that they are losing skills, and that can include physical abilities too, not just cognitive skills. Anosognosia can cause someone to be completely unaware of the changes they're experiencing, but most often I find my clients will tell me that they're not good at remembering names or faces and will be aware that they're becoming forgetful, and yet insist that they have excellent judgment and don't need any help taking care of themselves. People who are experiencing dementia without anosognosia tend to be afraid and grieving, for they're aware of what dementia is doing to them and to their families. On the other hand, those who are experiencing dementia with anosognosia tend to be more irritable and suspicious. Because they cannot comprehend their own changing needs, they can't help but believe that everyone around them is trying to trick them, hiding things and being difficult. These people eventually become paranoid. The key point to remember, however, is that when your loved one cannot accept their diagnosis or comprehend their increasing need for care, don't be irritated. They're not being difficult. They simply no longer have the ability to exercise self-knowledge. Second, you may not realize this, but once your loved one begins losing memory skills and rational thinking skills, they also lose the ability to change their own moods. And that means that their moods will be stuck in the negativity that dementia brings, unless you help. For the first time in your life, you will find that you eventually have complete control over the moods of another person. If you've ever raised a child, you know that it's not possible to change the mood of even a toddler. A cranky 2-year-old has memory and rational thinking skills and can choose whether to be pacified by the offer of a treat or a distraction. But when someone is experiencing dementia, they're losing their memory skills and their rational thinking skills at the same time that they're experiencing more frustration and fear as they fail at tasks and conversations and become ever less able. Yet, if we understand that they're losing the ability to change their own moods for the better, we can begin consciously bringing only positive moods whenever we spend time with them. The person who lacks the skills to change their own moods also lacks the skills to avoid ours, and so whatever moods we bring, they experience. Whether you realize it or not, when you come into your loved one's presence wearing an expression of worry or guilt or exasperation, he or she will pick it up right away and you'll soon be receiving the same mood back again. So it's important to understand this truth. Dementia takes away our language skills, but it doesn't take away our ability to read our companions' nonverbal communications and to feel emotions and react to what we think we see. So consciously become your loved one's mood manager, and you'll rediscover peace and companionship. Dementia does not take away our emotional needs. In fact, what is often referred to as dementia-related behaviors, or as the symptoms of dementia, are actually just our loved ones' predictable emotional reactions to the loss of cognitive skills that they've been using their whole lives. This is the dawn flower. It's a metaphor or a model for the emotional needs we experience with dementia. In the center is mood management, for when a companion has dementia, we're always managing mood, whether we realize it or not. Around the center are two sepals, representing the person's need to regain a sense of security, despite increasing confusion and care needs. We learn that we're safe through experience, so we continue to learn whether we're safe or not, even with dementia. The outer four petals represent the components of well-being, the four areas in which we need to experience fulfillment and have a general sense that everything is okay. We can't learn these things, but when our companions meet our needs in these areas, we will be able to relax and feel that all is well in the world. You can add well-being to your loved one's life in these areas every day, in moments. The dawn flower gives families and caregivers a model for how to identify and meet their companions' emotional needs, rather than be met with behaviors that seem inexplicable, irrational, and unsolvable. When someone's emotional needs are met, they become relaxed and happy. And last, the third truth that will have a tremendous impact, not just on mood, but all your interactions with your loved one, is correction. You'll need to give up on correctness and on correcting them, for dementia takes away the ability to accurately perceive reality. Dementia changes our reality because it takes away the very skills we need most to correctly interpret and understand what's going on around us. If I can't remember something that has occurred, such as the fact that my spouse recently passed away, I'll misinterpret almost everything in the present. I'll wonder where he is and why he isn't home. I'll ask about him constantly and be confused by my companion's replies and explanations. Because I'm losing my memory skills, not just my actual memories, I'll continuously try to check my memory for knowledge of his passing and funeral, and when I come up with a blank, I won't be able to help assuming that those events never occurred. And then, within moments, I'll forget all about having asked my companions about it and put them through the whole process all over again. However, I'll have trouble believing what they tell me, for we also lose our rational thinking skills to dementia. So when they try to explain to me why their version of reality is more accurate than mine, and that mine is flawed by failing memory skills, I'll lack the ability to analyze, to compare, to discern, and to judge. If I don't have anosognosia and believe them, I'll be distressed by this further proof that my skills are failing and grieve my lost husband anew every time. And if I do have anosognosia and don't believe them, I'll become paranoid and angry, believing they're trying to trick me or mislead me. Either way, my mood and our companionship will be ruined. When we use reality orientation or correct someone's inaccurate sense of reality when they have dementia, we are being unkind. We are asking them to use the very skills they're losing, introducing unsolvable conflict to our time together. The better approach is to accept their inescapably changing sense of reality, to validate their feelings, and then, if they're uncomfortable with what they think is going on, add another fact or two to help them feel better. We've been talking about the changes in skills that people experience when they have dementia. If we think about dementia from the perspective of how a person's ability to function changes, a pattern appears that makes it easier to care for them. The Dawn method is built around this simple pattern of skills lost and kept. As you can see in this table, we lose only one of our systems of thinking skills, as our intuitive thinking skills are actually our primary thinking skills, the ones we benefit from most. And although we lose our memory skills and with them our memories and knowledge of the past, we do not lose the ability to continue to experience the present. So if our companions understand this, they can fill our lives with that which is beautiful to us, and we can fully enjoy nature, animals, even videos and music, because we still have our intuitive skills. And finally, although we lose our attention skills and become easily distracted and find it hard to refocus, we do not lose the ability to do tasks on autopilot using the tools of mindlessness. Those tools help extend our functioning for so long as we're allowed to live in our familiar homes. Understanding the pattern of skills kept and lost in dementia, and understanding that the way someone behaves reflects their emotional needs, as well as what they believe to be happening in the present, will enhance your ability to provide care with less stress for both you and your loved one. It really is possible to provide excellent care at home when we understand what our loved one is experiencing. At Dawn, we've put together these tools and techniques to equip families and caregivers to provide truly supportive dementia care. We have found that dementia-related behaviors melt away when caregivers understand and meet the emotional needs that drive them. Thank you for listening. In our next video, I'll outline the 6 stages of dementia that everyone goes through, regardless of the type of dementia they've been diagnosed with, when you look at dementia as a progressive series of changes in functioning.